Welcome to Twisted Tales.
Twisted Tales, Twisted Tales, hell, blood and bones and no contrails. Twisted Tales, hell, fruit got teeth and drags their nails. Urban riding, back road sins, dead men talking through the wind. Cursed objects, killer law. Once you hear it, you want more. No fairy dust, no happy end, just how the nightmare really went. Turn it up, don't ask why. This ain't stories, this is true to life. Twisted Tales.
Good evening, everybody. Welcome to another great edition of Twisted Tales. My name is Jeremy, and I can't wait to bring to you two amazing people. They are the owners of the Humbird Hotel Bar and Grill, Miss Elizabeth Havenor and Matt Hawks, Team H Adventures. Come on in.
Hey, Jeremy.
Hello.
Hey, hello. How are we doing?
Finally good to see you and hear you again. It's been a while.
My friend, it's been a long time, you know.
Just a little.
First of all, I want to thank you guys for taking the time out of, I know you guys have a very busy schedule with everything going on with the inn and with all of your adventures to come on the show tonight. So I really appreciate you taking the time to be here today. So,
yeah, thank you. And thank you for having us.
Yeah, thank you.
Every Wednesday we do our best to shoot. I think we've only missed 2 episodes so far, but yeah,
you know, it's all good. It's fantastic, man. You know, and it's I hope I didn't butcher the last name too much. I did the best I could to pronounce it. I know we talked about that earlier. You know, we're here to have a good time. You know, and I want to talk about everything that you guys have going on, because obviously you have a lot of irons in the fire, so to speak. So I always like to start things off so people get a chance to know you guys. We'll start with Elizabeth first. How did you get involved in the paranormal to begin with?
Oh, gosh. I mean, I guess coming by it naturally, like most people do. My parents accidentally bought a haunted house when I was a kid. That's awesome. One thing led to another. I was like 1 when they moved in, and long story short, they still do live in that house. You know, they got things under control, actually, with the help of the Catholic Church, with a local priest. So, you know, they were people that weren't believers really going into it, but they were made believers. And you know, I ever since I've just had a natural fascination. I used to sneak down the steps when I was a kid and you know, peek through the rails while my dad watched horror movies and stuff like that. So like I think it just kind of set the tone for my whole life pretty much. So
I mean, that is awesome. I mean, I didn't get a chance to live in a haunted house. I pretty much just lived in a regular old house in a mill town in Massachusetts. But did you actually see like spirits and stuff in your house when you were growing up?
Well, I was too young to remember any of it, but my parents had high level poltergeist activity. Like my mom said, and it wasn't just witnessed by my family. Many people witnessed it, neighbors, friends, that sort of thing. But everything from like the dishes flying out of the cupboard and smashing into the wall next to my mom's head to one of our babysitter's hands almost getting cut off in the oven door when she was trying to pull out a pizza. There was actually one night where she met my parents outside in the backyard because she pulled us out of the house because it was so alive and she just didn't feel safe in there at the time. So yeah. My mom used to tell me, she said, you know, that scene from Poltergeist where they walk into walk into the room and everything's like floating around. And then, you know, she was like, yeah, we had moments like that in the house. So,
oh my God.
Yeah. So it was really, really high level poltergeist activity that they had. So.
Kudos for them to still be living in the house all these years later. I mean, I guess you get used to it after a while, you know?
Well, and it helps when, you know, when it, you know, they got it quashed a little bit. We had a little spike up when I you know, was a preteen, as sometimes these things occur, you know, but it settled back down right away. So, you know, it's under control. It doesn't help that my parents' house is actually sitting on leveled Indian burial ground. So the town that I'm from, the entire downtown area sits on leveled Indian burial ground. There's a park like 2 blocks away from my parents' house, which has like the last like 8 mounds left that are still in existence in that area. So
Oh my God,
that's Rice Lake, Wisconsin, by the way. So if anybody's curious.
that's a heck of an intro to everything. Hey Russ, how's it going, buddy? Hey Matt, so I wanted to hear about your journey in the paranormal, because I know you did a lot of stuff over in the UK from what I was reading about your bio. So please,
yeah, I mean, always being a spooky kid, growing up, never had anything really happen to me as a child, not really, but I mean, I'd kind of feelings at certain locations, especially at my grandma's house. I used to pick up on some things there, and after talking to my mum one day, and she kind of like sort of gave me a look, and as if to say, what, you too? Because when she was a kid, she experienced something there with my auntie, because I used to share a room together. But yeah, I've always been into horror, you know, all the old sort of gothic classics like Dracula. I was always fascinated by those as a kid, and you know, sort of watching the old like creature features, you know, that used to be on the TV late at night. So, you know, but yeah, and then later in life, all the paranormal shows started coming out, and then I just started basically visiting a lot of the ones I used to see on the shows. We also have a castle in my hometown. I used to be in a reenactment society, so we used to get to stay in a lot of old like castles and stately homes. So yeah, one in my hometown, I've actually sort of slept in that castle twice. Next, had some weird experiences there whilst I was sleeping there. Weird dreams, feeling that somebody was like pulling like these sort of like cassock that I had over the top of me. It felt like someone was actually pulling it off me, and then I kind of vaguely remember like shouting out, and then the morning after, my friend mentioned it, he heard someone shouting. I said, well, that was probably me, half asleep, because it felt like someone was pulling my cassock off me.
Yeah.
But yeah,
wow.
Yeah, I mean, you're kind of falling over haunted properties in Europe. I mean, it's a very old country. So.
Oh, no doubt. You know, I saw that. Did you do like reenactments too? Is that something I read about?
Used to do the English sort of get my words out. The English Civil War. So I was a Roundhead fighting the like Cavaliers. So yeah, we used to go to a lot of like battlegrounds as well, and you know, Edge Hill is a renowned haunted sort of battleground. You know, a bit like Gettysburg, you know, which is only natural with the kind of death and the emotions that are there during the day during like battles. You can only imagine what people were, you know what people were actually going through. So It doesn't surprise me that battlefields are so haunted.
No, it definitely doesn't sound like it. I mean, you know, you guys definitely came from two definitely interesting backgrounds. So how did the union of teenage adventures actually come about? Because I know that I met you, Matt, when we both worked at Target.
Yeah,
you know, pre-pandemic and all of that kind of stuff.
I mean, I can't believe me and you were into this stuff, and we didn't know that we were both into it after we both left.
I think it was right before I left to go to work at the hospital.
Yeah,
I think you were still there, or you guys were on your way towards Wisconsin.
Yeah.
While I was leaving and moving on to the hospital.
Yeah.
And you started talking like, I've been here. Oh, I've been there too. It's like, wait a minute. Oh my God, we both have the same. It's freaking ridiculous. But no,
Yeah.
I wanted to hear about. Wait, what do you think about the spirits? What do you think the spirits think of the reenaction of their time?
Oh, like when you're doing reenactment stuff, honey.
I mean, I don't know. I mean, because we're all dressed up in period costume, and we wear the whole costume through the whole weekend. We even go shopping in it. If we have to go out into the town or go to the pub, we just stay in costume the whole weekend. So it makes you wonder whether the spirits are seeing this, and I don't know. Maybe they think it's happening. You know, that we're part of that. I don't know. I mean, I remember when we were in Carew Castle. We slept in the Great Hall because there's only a few of us, and then we heard some like sort of banging and like knocking in the one area, but when we checked it out, there was nothing there. So yeah, I think the spirits pick up on it, and I think us being there in costume and reenacting this stuff must bring some of the energy back out for sure.
Yeah, I think I agree with you, especially where there are so many spirits that don't realize that they've passed and they're still stuck on this plane. That I believe that they might see you and be like, "Hey, my brothers in arms are here," and and it might make them feel better. So who knows? I mean, what kind of communications you could do if you were doing them in reenactment gear? I mean, you never know what kind of responses you may or may not get. But I really wanted to know about the union of Team H Adventures and how that all came about, and what you guys did when you first started out.
Well, I came to the States back in 2016 on a pilgrimage to Rhode Island, to Providence, because I'm a huge H.P. Lovecraft fan, and I basically made friends and acquaintances whilst I was over here, and obviously friends and acquaintances introduced me to the wonderful Elizabeth here. So if it wasn't for the great HP sort of Lovecraft, we wouldn't have met.
Yeah, I was living in Massachusetts at the time, and just it was like just happenstance, like neither one of us were looking for each other, that's for sure. Yeah. And let me tell you, it's not easy falling in love with somebody who's living halfway across the world, and and taking the risk and thinking that are they is this actually going to happen, or am I just like deluding myself? But this crazy man thought I was worth jumping the pond for. I don't know, but I think that just means he's a little bit more nuttier than me even. But no, I am.
I agree, Russ.
I am such a lucky woman. Seriously, and we won't be too mushy here. Yeah,
it's fantastic that
unless we get tips. Yeah.
Yeah, you said you guys have a shared love of H.P. Lovecraft. That's pretty cool. I'm not too familiar. I mean, obviously, I know a little bit, but I haven't dove that far into the culture. I love. Oh, that is amazing. I like that.
I have my Cthulhu tankard.
I have a couple of Cthulhu things hanging around the house because I mean, I find that particular being very, very intriguing. And
I ran a concert and nightclub promotional company out of Providence. So Providence is the home of H.P. Lovecraft. So you basically end up bumping into all those people eventually. So
that's awesome. That's really awesome. Wow.
So yeah, his love of horror actually, in H.P. Lovecraft is what was the catalyst. So there you go.
That's really cool. So when you guys decided to start up Team H Adventures, what was the very first investigation that you guys did as a union as far as Team H Adventures was concerned?
That was the Hitchhiker.
I think officially Route 44.
Route 40. The Hitchhiker.
Down in Fall River, the Hitchhikers Highway. Yeah. Yeah, we just obviously this was during COVID, and I mean, he and I had ghost hunted before, and separately and that sort of thing, but not being able I worked in theater and we ran, club nights and DJ during that time and stuff like that. And we can do any of that. So we were like, okay, well, what's something that's safe that we can do that, nobody's going to yell at us for going and doing, and that, we know we're not going to affect anybody. And it was like, oh, let's go drive up and down Route 44 and see if we can find the ghost hitchhiker. And that just kind of like, then all of a sudden it was like, okay, this is our thing now.
That's pretty cool. I've never done that particular stretch of road. I've heard a lot of interesting things about it though.
We didn't see anything, but it was still a nice drive.
Yeah, and it's sort of Bridgewater Triangle. Yeah, it's in that area as well.
So my buddy Russ was asking, what made you move from the East Coast out to Central America? Why Wisconsin? Of all places.
Well, I am originally from here, but again, like, as things were coming back from the pandemic, nothing was the same. Absolutely nothing was the same, and we just, we weren't really happy anymore with what we were doing. It was like people had changed, everything had changed, and it was just kind of like, yeah, let's pivot. Let's do something different. And it was really weird because we decided we wanted to buy a haunted property, and we started looking, but we didn't tell anybody. And then out of nowhere one day, I get a Facebook message from one of my cousins, and she's like, hey, I was driving by this place, on my Harley the other day, and I saw it was for sale, and it looks like it's right up your alley, wink, wink, nudge, nudge. And that was this place. So wow. I'm somebody that does not believe in coincidence. And the fact that we were doing this searching. I mean, we had targeted a place in New Hampshire at the time. We had looked at a place in Iowa at the time. We hadn't told anybody this. And then boom, this Facebook message comes out of nowhere. And it was like, okay, this is maybe the universe intervening and telling us to look here. So
that's awesome. So switching gears on that, we'll probably come back to the paranormal thing in a bit, but I wanted to talk about the actual property that you guys are on. An amazing looking location, the Humbird. Can you give me a little bit of the origin of the Humbird? Like, tell people like all about its origin story and like when it was built and stuff like that, because I find it very interesting, and I wanted to hear it from you guys. So.
Well, sure. I mean, we give people kind of the quick and dirty in the bar all the time, so we're kind of used to this. People are like, "Tell us about it."
Time, so feel free to make as detailed as you want, because I find it absolutely intriguing. So.
Well, the building was built to support the railroad. Prior to that, there were some settlers around here. This place was called originally Rocky Mound City. And then when the train was coming through, then one of the townsfolk said, hey, I'm going to donate a bunch of land. Let's build a town. Let's support the railroad. And so that was Almond Alderman who donated the land. We have a room named after him. And so that's what built Humbird proper. And Humbird is the name of the gentleman who actually built the railroad. He built the entire Pacific and Northwestern rail line system. Now I can't talk. And he built the entire rail system down in Brazil. Like that goes like all the way up through South America too. And we're the only place in the world that's named after him and his efforts. So we have a Humbird suite too, of course. But yeah, it was pretty much him and his son. And most of their relatives and everything ended up in the northwestern part of the United States, British Columbia, that kind of thing. But our benefactor or our original proprietor, our founder, was George W. King. And he was kind of an everything businessman. And he actually has an interesting kind of weird parallel story to my husband.
Yeah, it's a bit spooky.
It's kind of weird.
Yeah, when we started research, well, we're always researching the property, always. And we found that he was an English immigrant who came into the United States via Boston, Massachusetts.
So did he.
That's where I came in through when I immigrated. The family then moved to Ohio, I actually have distant relatives in Ohio going back to my great-grandfather, because my great-grandfather emigrated to the States after World War One, and my grandfather was born in the States. And then the family up and left Ohio to Humbird and built this property. And obviously, we ended up here too. So it's a bit spooky, some of the coincidences of the path that was taken, and the fact that I have distant relatives in Ohio and that's where they moved to, etc. It's just like, yeah, it's a bit spooky.
Yeah, so we, coming here, we were like, oh, it was my family pull, because I even have cousins that live in town. So it's like, we thought, oh, it was just the pull of our family, and that was the force that brought us here. But then when we discovered all this stuff about the guy that built our property and him having a similar path to, my husband coming into the United States, it was like, we kind of joke that maybe he's the reincarnation. we don't do that seriously, but hey, you never know, right? I mean, it's just, again, it's kind of a creepy coincidence. If you want to believe in coincidences, it's a little creepy, but yeah.
Russ says, where in Ohio? My family, or King's family?
Where your family?
Mine was in the city. Oh God,
wasn't it just right outside Columbus?
Columbus,
yeah.
Columbus, Ohio.
Yeah,
that's where my great-grandfather emigrated to, and he's actually buried there. So at some point, I want to go there and find his grave.
And our original builder founder, he was from Mentor, Ohio, and actually when he came here and first was setting up shop here, he actually renamed Rocky Mountain City Mentor. So it's kind of weird. It's like we're a town within a town. So Humbird is an unincorporated town within the incorporated town of Mentor.
Okay.
We're a ghost town within an actual town with a government. It's very odd.
That's cool, actually. I think one of my follow-up questions is, like, why that particular? When you went there, did you just feel an automatic connection to that property? Is that what made you guys decide that we want to be here? This is what we want to do.
Well, the real estate agent's video was really the first thing that brought us here. So, we looked at the pictures, we looked at the listing, and I know that pictures will only show you so much. So we asked the agent who was selling the place to do a video walkthrough so we could see what the photos weren't showing us. And she actually got up into one of the rooms and all of a sudden had like this freak out, and the video cut out. And then next thing we know, she's back on the video and she's standing outside the building and she goes, well, I hope you got what you wanted, because I'm never setting foot in there alone ever again in my entire life.
Oh, wow.
And I turned and looked at my husband and I said, okay, now we buy plane tickets.
And then when we flew over, when we flew up here to view it in person, she came to me to see her, and she only went upstairs because we went upstairs with her, but she still wouldn't go into that room that she got scared. She would not step foot in it.
And of course we brought, we had a couple devices in our hands walking through just to, try to verify and try to communicate. And at first they weren't, but after a little while of being here, all of a sudden it was like, okay, things are starting to come through and everything. And I was like, oh, there you are. And the thing is like, I'm not a medium. I'm not a psychic. I'll never claim to be, but I am highly sensitive. And, from the get-go, I didn't feel anything heavy or negative or bad in here. Like, and that's actually one thing that we get from a lot of like psychics and mediums that come in here, where they're just like, wow, this place is so full. There's so much going on in here, but like, it's so light, like, and it just kind of strikes them strange because, we are very haunted, and usually in very haunted places, they tend to feel very heavy and just weighty and almost tough to breathe in. And our place just feels light. It feels happy. I don't want to say it feels happy. It just feels content, I guess, is the best way to describe it.
I mean, we don't get any bad juju or bad vibes at all. I mean, obviously we see and hear things all the time. Mm-hmm. We live here, so.
But to cycle back to why we see and live and hear things here. So our benefactor, or our original proprietor, George W. King, was a Mason. So when this place was originally built as a hotel bar and grill, part of the hotel was right away used as a Masonic temple. So number one. Then a few years after its inception, it was built from 1869 to 1871 by hand, brick, but it was open for business in 1869. Then from 1873 to 1876, smallpox hospital. 25 people on record died in here that we know of during that time. And then shortly after that, it became a brothel. So we don't know the exact dates because you can't really look up the brothel history pages. There was no yellow pages for brothels back then, and stuff like that. They were so underground, but we know it ran from at least the late 1800s to 1904. So we know that that happened then. Then it kind of went back to being a more reputable place. The owner at the time kind of brought it back to a hotel
saloon and confectionery.
Yeah, it was actually a saloon and confectionery, which is kind of fun. It was treats for young and treats for old.
There you go.
Bar and candy shop. It was pretty smart. But then of course Prohibition hit, and we are on what's known as Capone's Highway. So the highway we were on, it was the main drag to go from Chicago all the way up to Superior back in the day. So almost every single bar, pretty much every bar along this highway was part of Capone's rum running. And of course we were, and there's evidence of our speakeasy in our basement. And so that's number 4. So we like to say we have the haunted quadfecta. Besides everything else that has gone on around here over the years. So just so we got a lot going on.
That's amazing. That really is. And the quadfecta. When I read that earlier, I was like, wow, that's a lot. That's a lot of things.
Yeah, it's a lot.
Yeah, I mean, those are just the biggies. I mean, it's been a pool hall, a dance hall. It's
just in communicating with some of our spirits too, we now firmly believe that it had brothel part 2. Basically, when Prohibition hit, we think that the speakeasy also functioned as a brothel downstairs.
You might be hearing the train going past at the moment.
No, they probably won't hear the train.
Gwen, if you have a picture of the Humbird, we could pop up on the screen so people can actually see what it looks. There it is. Hey, there it is.
Slightly older picture. We have to update our outside picture. We have actually a church pew bench right now up front to sit on, and we have a soda machine on the left side. But other than that, it looks pretty much like it does in that photo.
That's pretty cool. How many rooms? How many rooms do you guys have in that place?
So there's 6. It was originally 8 plus a suite.
Yeah.
And but 4 rooms got converted into 2 suites, and then 1 room got converted into a concession room. There was no amenities upstairs. We're like the old school brothel style hotel, right? So it's shared bathrooms. There's no bathrooms in the rooms. There's 2 shared bathrooms, but there's absolutely no amenities because back then it was like you needed a bed, you needed to use the bathroom, and then you needed to get out. So we definitely have a little bit more luxury than that now going on. So it's nice. It's manageable too for owner operators like us to have that level of rooms.
Yeah, the photo that's actually up now, that was when J.C. Hahn did some renovations here. And the actual porch obviously looks a lot different than what it does now. But those pillars on the porch, I actually found in the garage. And we're hoping at some point to put them back where they belong.
The other difference in this photo, so this is the one photo that we know of that was the first ever of our place. So this was 1908, I believe it was recorded. But I love the you can see the little horse hitch there, right there in the lower left corner, which I think is really cute. And there's a window in the attic. That window was taken out, which is unfortunate. We have an entire third floor that is just begging to be used. It's never been used. The attic is just an open blank slate. You know, if Powerball hits us or, you know, fortune befalls us, we would love to do something with that third floor finally and make the whole place fully functional. That would be really nice.
That's awesome. You know, I think we have a couple of pictures of the interior of the rooms as well.
Yeah, we tossed you a couple.
Yeah, there's one. Wow, look at that beautiful brickwork.
That's what we called the Humbird Suite, after naming it after Jacob Humbird, who built a railroad.
And this is one of the rooms that was originally 2, and you can see the split. The split was left on the floor, where the carpet and the wood meet is where the wall used to be. So, you know, to kind of show, you know, where the split used to be. So those were pretty tiny rooms. I mean, look at that sofa. I mean, what you're not seeing in this photo is there's like an armoire with a TV to the left, but that's about it. So that's how big those rooms would have been. Pretty cramped.
That's pretty cool. Wow.
That's our other converted room. This is our king suite. Just one shot of it. There's a lot of art in here. It's actually a very pretty room. But we believe this was our madame's room when it was a brothel. So we get a lot of brothel stuff in here through our investigations and everything.
Is that a metal ceiling?
We do have, in some parts of the building, the original metal ceilings, like in our bar. That's absolutely beautiful.
In the rooms, it's actually faux.
They are faux metal in the rooms. But, you know, honestly, this day, like, those are getting kind of expensive too. Like,
it's very shiny. That's why I was asking if.
Yeah, I mean, we actually have the actual original tin ceiling in the bar area.
Yeah, we didn't toss up a bar photo. No. We didn't realize we could do photos because, like I said, some of your other guests haven't done photos, so we were caught last minute. But it is on our website though, so yeah, you can see way more photos than these on our website for sure.
That's fantastic. Hey, Morgan, you know, it's pretty cool. Like, you have your own property. You have spirits that you're interacting with that you're probably learning about, like, almost probably still every single day to this day, because it takes a long time for them to get used to you, I'm sure, and want to talk about their stories. And so how many confirmed spirits do you think you have so far that you've actually confirmed?
This is such a loaded question for us.
People ask us this, and it's like, because we have an open portal here as well, it's hard to say, because we'll be doing a ghost hunt.
It's dynamic.
And we're trying to reach out to some of the spirits that we know of, and then we'll get these random spirits come through that we've never spoke to before, and it can throw us for a loop. But we've had people have conversations in German, in French, because obviously we were on the railroad, so we've had a lot of people from all over
the world that passed through.
But it's hard to say. I mean,
I tell people that we know of approximately 4 dozen off the top of our heads.
Okay.
You know, which is like astronomical in the paranormal world. And some people look at us like we're crazy, but no, we can list them off. A part of that big chunk is 23 of them are smallpox patients. So
that's right.
As I said earlier, we know that 25 died in here. That's a matter of record. 2 of them are properly buried before they realized what they were dealing with. So the other 23 basically were held back. And then, our basement, and then they carted them off to the farm that's down the road across from our cemetery, and burn them as what you would have to do to control disease back then. Then they all got dumped into a mass grave behind our cemetery, and ironically, cousins of mine own the property behind the cemetery. They had recently bought it just a few years ago, and they came rushing in here the other summer ago and said, we think we found the mass grave on our property. And so that's actually one of our projects in the future here very soon. We actually were just talking with them the other day that we're going to go out and try to uncover the mass grave and try to give them some, pay some respect to them and see what we can do for them. So.
That's pretty amazing. Morgan had mentioned that having an open portal must be interesting because you get, oh, there it is. With an open portal, random ones come in for sure. It just adds to the fun.
Yep.
Fun and shock.
Yeah.
Sometimes we do warn people, you know, on the ghost hunts that warn and also encourage if there's anybody that, you know, is a past loved one or somebody, you know, that, you know, if they are able to come here, obviously there's no guarantee, but if you can send them your bat signal and you can get them to come through the portal, they can come here. We've had some really amazing just hugging cry out sessions with some people who got contact. I've even gotten contact from one of my family members unexpectedly that put me into a big crying fit. It's always kind of shocking when it happens, but it's also beautiful. And it's interesting. Our permanent residents, the ones that are here, that's what we call them, by the way.
Right.
We like to respect the fact that we cohabitate with them. We absolutely respect that fact. So we call them our permanent residents. They actually have told us that they kind of police the portal for us too. There's been times in ghost hunts where things have gotten quiet and we're kind of going, what's going on, guys? And they've told us something's trying to come through the portal we don't like, so we're dealing with it. And it's like, oh, okay. So we got our own spiritual portal patrol going on. So that's kind of cool. So I'm like, it's just wacky in here sometimes.
Was the portal there before you guys got the place, or did somebody open it while you've been there?
No, it was open before we got here, but we weren't 100% sure if it was a portal. I did make note of it when I saw the broken mirror because of how it was broken. It's not web broke. It's a one clean break. And okay. I was like, well, that's...
Oh, actually, we've got a picture.
Did I download a photo of that? I'm not sure if I did. I can take a look. But we saw it while we were doing our walkthrough. And we were like, maybe. But then we basically waited for evidence of it being a portal. And the first evidence we had was a friend of ours coming here and toasting her... It was her son's birthday. He had passed away in a tragic boating accident. Sadly, had a heart attack and fell out of the boat and drowned. So she was here on his birthday, drinking his favorite drink. I had mixed it in the shaker, and the shaker lids are super tight. And we were just sitting there talking. And next thing we knew, the shaker lid just flew off and flew right into her lap.
Well, prior to that, they actually raised a glass.
Glass to him. We toasted him, all that stuff, you know. And yeah, when that shaker lid just went flying into her lap, like everybody turned and said, "Oh my God, honey, your son is here." And that's when we were like,
and that happened right underneath.
And it happened right underneath where the portal sits. So we were like,
situated.
Okay, yep. And so we started asking around and basically found out previous owners hung two mirrors facing each other in here. And so, yep, you want a portal. That's how you're going to get a portal. So, and one spontaneously broke one day. And that's how it happened. So
that's pretty amazing. I mean, I've seen portals in several different places, whether it's on a ship like on the USS Salem in Massachusetts. I mean, I've seen them in other locations, and portals they do fascinate me because it's like, okay, how did it get opened, and do you ever get tempted to close it because it could become too much? Have you ever had thoughts about that, or do you just keep it as it goes because it just adds to the allure of the situation? Or?
As we've told many people, if anything bad ever really were to come through, you know, we would close it. All we have to do is throw a blanket over it. You know, that's how you close a portal. Very easy to do, but until it brings anything negative in here, all it's done is bring people connection to their past loved ones, and that has been so beautiful to witness. It is such a gift of this place, and it's one of the things that we just absolutely adore about it, that you know that we have this thing here that, you know, obviously again, no guarantee, but if it's possible, it's possible here. and we
That
know
is
that,
awesome.
and that's really cool.
There
And
really
we didn't
is.
know that coming into this place.
No.
We learned that as we went. So there's been a lot that we've learned as we've gone in here. So
That's pretty cool. So, like, what would you consider your most haunted rooms inside the actual Humbird? Like, if somebody was coming there and was interested in like staying in like your most haunted room, just
Each
what
one,
would you suggest?
each one's got its own flavor, but I think
Yeah.
the two most lit ones, I think, hands down, because we always go into them, let's face it, is the King Suite, which is that red suite room that that you shared, Miss the former brothel madame's room. So we know she's in there. She has a protector spirit with her.
Yeah.
And that room is very hot, lots of activity in there. That chandelier flickers so crazy when we're in there working on, talking to them. It goes nuts. The other one, we didn't upload the photo. I didn't get a chance to grab it, would be the Hamilton room, which is named after our illustrious doctor on record when it was a smallpox hospital, Dr. Jacob Hamilton. That room, not only do we believe was the surgical room when it was a hospital, because we've gotten so much smallpox echoes from the past, and communications from the doctor and the nurse and patients and that and everything. That room also had another kind of thing happen in 2016. It had a meth lab happen in there.
Okay.
Yeah, so
which
that
we think spawned one of the
That spawned
entities
something.
in here, which got nicknamed by previous owners as the Creeper, which is a black mist, black shape, hasn't got really any form,
No
which
form.
would creep up the walls and across ceilings. We've both witnessed it. I witnessed it the first night we moved in.
we were greeted by the black mist when we were
And we
we
think it was spawned to protect the property.
So
Okay.
nobody locally ever saw the Creeper, and it's just named the Creeper because it's a black mist that goes up the walls, goes down the ceiling, stuff like that. Nobody saw it before the meth lab happened, and our vibe, what we get from it, this is not a deceased relative. This is not a human. This is an entity, completely 100%. We believe it was birthed to protect the property. The spirits here are very protective. They love this place, and they will run out anybody with bad intentions. We tell people we don't need a guard dog. We have a guard house. Seriously, we've seen it. We've seen people run out of here that needed to be run out of here, and they saw something that nobody else saw. So we think that the Creeper kind of helps with that if need be. That if you have bad intentions coming in here, you're planning on stealing, planning on vandalizing, you're treating somebody really, really rudely, or being violent or disrespectful, you might see something that nobody else sees in here. They like a good time. They like a good time in here. So.
Well, that's pretty cool, especially. I've been on investigations before where you see people who are being disrespectful, and they're running ass first, like right out the door, and I've seen them being chased by shadows. Like,
I love it.
I love it too, Elizabeth. I'll tell you, if you're gonna be a disrespectful person, then you get what you fucking deserve. And then, and like I said, my language is colorful occasionally, and then to me, that's how I feel. Go into these places, be respectful, take care of the property, take care of the spirits who are there. You're visiting them, but they live there.
Yeah,
and that is the most important thing.
Yeah,
exactly.
That's why we call them our permanent residents, because they were here before us, and they're going to be here after us. So
yeah, this is their house, and we are basically their living caretakers at this time. And I don't have intentions of joining them after the fact, but you never know. So.
You never know. If you're there long enough and everything goes according to plan, you could be part of the permanent resident squad. Yeah, exactly. And they're very lucky to have you guys there, because from your experiences through the paranormal how to treat a property properly. And sometimes I feel like it's lost in translation at certain places when certain people take over places. But that's neither here nor there. I was going to ask you what some of the best evidence was that you've actually gotten, but a giant black mist when we first got there is pretty hard to beat right off the bat, I think, don't you?
Yeah, I mean, we have some on YouTube. Obviously, we have like security cameras in the bar and on the landings upstairs. So those have caught some stuff which we have on YouTube, on our Team H Adventures YouTube. I
think some of the craziest stuff, though, he's asking about some of the craziest stuff is definitely the phone call.
Oh yeah, the phone call.
The phone call is pretty high up there. So I mean, we know it's possible. We know that we hear about it, that sometimes they can call us, and we're pretty sure that we had one of those during a session with a paranormal team in here, and it was so shocking that literally it ended the hunt for the night. Like when we hung up finally, we were like, okay, I don't know about you, but we need drinks and we need to come down from this. But long story short, this is the person we spoke to. Nobody's been able to speak to again. We haven't been able to find this person online. And
we called the phone number back.
We called the phone number back. The caller ID it popped up on a guest phone. And the caller ID said Denise possessed.
Wow.
No, this guy is part of a paranormal group called Reaper Paranormal.
Hi, Doug. We love you.
And he answered his phone as we were doing an investigation with him.
And we're like,
we were just like, why is he answering his phone?
Yeah, who answers their
phone? And then afterwards he said, well, when I pick up my phone and it says Denise possessed, of course I'm going to answer it.
Well, yeah, he was answering his phone, and he's like, he's going like, hello, and he's talking and everything, and Matt and I are looking at each other like, who the hell is this guy? What he's supposedly a paranormal investigator, and he's still sitting there answering his phone, but then he like shows us his phone, and he's like pointing at the caller ID going, oh my God. And we're like, whoa, what did we have? Like, how long was the conversation? Almost like 10 minutes, something.
We have
like
the
that.
whole phone call.
The whole phone call.
We have the whole phone call on YouTube if anyone wants to hear it. So it's on.
I gotta go check it out. I'm actually very.
That was one of the craziest moments. I mean, gosh, we've had everything from poltergeist activity to apparitions to, they constantly play with the door locks. They love to play with the electronic locks. You might have to ask permission to walk into your room here. We've had to actually say please.
And the front door. They like to open and close the bar door as well.
Close the bar door. I'm trying to think of some of the other like really over the top crazy things.
Well, we could show them the photo of.
Some photos that we uploaded. So we have one entity she is a past person. She resides in our hallway. And she resides at the end of our south hallway. We have a chair down there, and we call her the lady in waiting. And basically, what we know of her story, crazy, right? You can see easily a head and arms coming and legs coming down. So her story is she sits in that chair. It's a chair that faces the railroad tracks. And we were told that her story was her husband and her son left to go look for work one day. They left on the train, and then they never came back, and she died here waiting for them. There's Doug. Hey, Doug. Hey. Shout out to Doug. This is his team that took this photo. We love Reaper Paranormal. You should interview them, by the way. Anyway.
Absolutely.
But yeah, so the lady in waiting, she that was the story we were told, was that she died here waiting for her husband and her son to come back. However, there was a couple sessions where we haven't gotten her name yet, her exact name, but she seemed to reveal to us that husband and son disappeared because they were train robbers.
Okay.
And so we wonder if she's sitting here still, partially due to a guilty conscience. But regardless, she has her butt parked in that chair. And if you go back to the other photo, Gwen, so as you can see, the team, they had put a puppy REM pod in her chair. So when this photo was caught, everybody was shocked because everybody knows she sits in the chair. So it was like, why is she floating above the chair? What's going on here? And I looked at it and I said, well, guys, you put the puppy REM pod in her chair. She's just floating above it, waiting for her spot back. And they were like, oh my God. But literally this capture is amazing. And we are so grateful to Reaper for getting that. And we have checked, yes, there's chandeliers all over in here, but we did the spot checks where we were like, okay, could this be any kind of reflection, refraction situation at all? We are big on debunking. We do not approach every little thing like, oh my God, it's a ghost. You know, we're very big on, okay, let's see, can we recreate this at all with anything? And we could not recreate this that we're seeing in these photos whatsoever.
That's really an amazing picture. I mean, it's not too often you actually get to see it, and it is very defined.
Right.
Now, is it the person on the wall? The picture on the wall? Is that the entity?
No, I actually, so again, I'm really sensitive, and it was really weird. I was in an antique store one day and I just saw that photo and it gave me her vibes.
Okay.
Like, I just was like, it gave me her energy. And I was just like, well, I know this isn't her specifically, but I'm going to bring it in just to kind of, you know, it's a visual reminder to people that she's in that corner. And oh my gosh, we've had psychics tell me upside down, left and right, like, girl, you don't know how close you were. That is almost exactly how she looks. And also one psychic told us that they do believe that we brought home a death photo, that's actually an old Victorian death photo, death portrait that they used to do, and that there is actually an attachment to that as well. Things that happen when you antique sometimes.
That's a pretty cool picture, actually. I mean, well, and there's the last picture you guys sent over, yeah.
This photo is so we just love that we have been able to find photos of some of our spirits. So the gentleman in the bottom left sitting down is one of our permanent residents. His name is William Hahn. He was the son of owner Julius Hahn, who purchased the property, brought it from the brothel. So he had it from 1904 to basically Prohibition. He gave up when Prohibition hit and he sold it at that time. William started here bartending. We dug into the census and he bartended here starting at age 14, and then eventually developed his own house band. So he was the head of the house band here, and they played every single night. But he sadly died at age 26 due to like liver and kidney failure. And as was the style of the time back then, his body was brought back here for the customary 2 to 7 days of the wake to see if he'd wake up before he was buried. And he communicates to us solely through music. So we get music coming through our devices, and we can actually hear the band warming up some nights. And depending on what time you hear them warming up, and sometimes you hear them playing all together. It's pretty cool.
That's fantastic. Oh my God.
Yeah. Yeah. And he is actually buried in our local cemetery.
Yeah.
And
we actually went down there and found the graves, didn't we, a few months back?
Him and his parents, we paid homage to him. So
Wow.
yeah. Yeah, we love that we've found a couple photos of some of our spirits. There's so much lost history to this place. We're really piecing it together. Like, it was all lost pretty much. It was all just basically town lore and stories passed down, and you know how the telephone game happens. I mean, gosh, we've probably heard of 30 different owners of this property since we came in here, but we've only really found like 15 of record. Yeah. So, it's just, oh yeah, that guy, he owned the place too. I mean, that's just how lost the history has been of this place. So we're trying to piece it together and give it the respect it deserves, because there's so much here.
That's really amazing, and so other than, like, obviously ghost hunts, you guys do private ghost hunts or public or whatever. What other kind of events do you guys run at the Humbird? So
we do murder mystery events. So if you want to come down and spend the night and solve a murder, that's always good fun.
3-course meal. We use the whole property. It's a 3-course meal, scavenger hunt for clues. You find the dead body, all that stuff. So yeah, we go full tilt. I have theater background, so we're not gonna skip
and it's one of these murder hunts where you actually play a character. You don't watch it.
Yeah,
you are
You're part of it. We do interactive.
You are acting yourselves, so it's really good fun.
Yeah, our next one's cool. July 31st, but we only have one room left right now for that. That one's almost fully booked. So if anybody's interested in that one, then we have one in October too.
A Halloween one.
And our October ones, we always put a supernatural spin on them too. Like, was this person killed by a person or were they killed by supernatural forces, basically? So we put that extra spin on it.
That's awesome. I mean, I've done a couple of murder mysteries before. I mean, I've actually got to play the killer one time, and that was really cool. And then, that was great because I actually had to keep that hidden from my wife for the entire weekend. And she kept asking, "Who do you think it is?" I'm like, "I have no idea." I'll tell you what, the drive home, that was the funniest part of the whole time. She's like, "You couldn't have told me, you son of a bitch." Like, it would have ruined if I told you that I was the killer before we got there. It would have ruined your whole weekend. So and because of my background of being in professional wrestling and being able to do characters, I can actually spin the character, and I kept it. Oh my God! When I stood up as the killer, I thought she was going to throw something at me. It was. It was. That is fantastic. Holy crap! I cannot believe. I mean.
Yeah, we want to get a few more things up and running. Part of it has we'd love to have more events. We did pick up a building that had been kind of run into the ground, to be brutally honest. The owners prior to us essentially shut the doors for 2 years for the most part. We were told that they basically had this place open for about 2 months out of the 2 years. So plumbing was shot. We had to completely put back together a bathroom, rewire electrical, name it. And so, event, dumping a lot of money and time into events. It's like, well, that comes after you make sure your building is safe and sound and, that people are comfortable here, that's priority. And, I think our residents, it definitely has stirred them up a little bit, but I think in a good way. I think they're happy.
And I followed basically through Matt's Facebook, all of the restoring of the Humbird as you guys were going, and because you were posting multiple times, and I've followed ever since you've moved out there because we've always stayed in touch over the last couple of years, and it's you guys have done an amazing job of that property, and hopefully someday when I get out to, if my wife and I get out to Wisconsin, we'd love to come and check the place out.
That'd be awesome.
It'd be amazing, I cannot believe that the friggin' hour is almost done. So I'm going to do with you guys what I always do with all of my guests. And I know Matt's seen it probably a few times before. And I like to go and each of you guys can answer individually, obviously, because tastes are always different. Your Mount Rushmore of horror characters. I always like to bring those up, and Elizabeth, if you could start, that'd be cool. So.
Thank you again, Doug, for that amazing comment. That was so sweet.
That was an amazing comment.
Oh, thank you. Yes, we were prepared for this because we do watch your show.
It's just something to amuse myself with. I know we're all into the horror kind of thing. So
oh, absolutely. I mean that's the fun side of it, right? So we gave it serious thought. So my Mount Rushmore is Freddy. Because I think he's just the best horror franchise of all time, in my humble opinion. I mean, I
agree with you. I actually got this.
Nice.
It's one of those carnival things that they do. They used to knock them over.
Cool! Right on.
I found this at Silver Screen Con last year. So
that's awesome. I love it.
I was like, what am I going to do with it? I'm like, I'm going to put them in the background now and let them see that.
Yeah, I mean, you really can't be a killer that attacks you in your dreams. I mean, that's like one of the most scariest concepts of all time. And it was just brilliant, what Wes did with all that. My next one would be Pinhead. because I mean, Clive Barker, again, I mean, he took it to such an intelligent level with horror and romanticized it and just turned it into this lush, like unique landscape that I think people had never seen before his stuff came around. And I think Clive is just an absolute genius, and Pinhead's just a phenomenal character. But then Ash, Evil Dead, specifically Bruce Campbell Ash. Like if anybody else would ever play Ash, I'm like, forget about it.
we're not going to go back down to the 2019 or whatever the hell that was. And no, I'm good.
It's Bruce Campbell, for life. He is Ash. Let's face it. Like Bruce made Ash, and like even the worst of the Evil Dead movies is still good. Like My Name is Bruce is an awful freaking movie, but it's still hilarious, So I mean, Ash is the best.
The TV show was amazing too. Ash versus the Evil Dead. That was an amazing TV show.
I was watched the whole thing, loved it. So that's great for best horror comedy, right? And then number 4, and a whole franchise that honestly I found very inspiring on so many levels too is Hannibal Lecter, because he is the embodiment of all real life horror, and nothing is scarier than what us humans are capable of. That we are the ultimate monsters.
I agree, and you can't get a better quality movie from beginning to end than Silence of the Lambs. It's
perfect,
amazing.
And
even Hannibal was a really good movie, but Silence of the Lambs is it's like one of those ones that's perfect from the beginning to the end.
And Jodie Foster's character is perfection. We've actually spent the night in Buffalo Bill's house. We were one of the first people to spend the night in it when it first opened. So we were like one of the first people to ghost hunt it. We actually thought about buying it when that was on the market, but we were like, well, we don't know if it's haunted or not. And then we went and stayed there. It's haunted. And we were like, damn it.
What do you got for me, Matt? What do you got going over there?
Okay, well, obviously, the great old one himself, the Big C, Cthulhu.
You can't go wrong there.
Cthulhu loves you.
He would be top tier of the Mount Rushmore. Obviously big HP Lovecraft fan. I've got HP Lovecraft tattoos and all sorts.
That's awesome.
Then I would have to say David from the Lost Boys. Great. It's just a great. It's just one of those cult classics. It's got vampires. It's got it's just the music, the whole. It's got comedy.
Yeah, it's scary and funny.
Yeah, it's just like David's character. He does a really good job of portraying. He's not the head vampire, but he controls his little group. You know what I mean? I don't know. He just does a really good
lead minion.
Yeah.
Lead minion, yes.
I don't know how you would put my next one up on Mount Rushmore, because it can change shape, but it would be The Thing.
You know what? The Thing itself is definitely considered. Because it can change it can be whatever form it wants to be.
Well, I think if you had to be on Mount Rushmore, it would have to be the kind of spider, with the head with the spider legs coming out of it. Because everyone knows, that transformation from The Thing, with that classic line when he turns around and goes, "You gotta be fucking kidding me."
Yeah. No, I agree with you wholeheartedly. They ruined that movie,
I haven't seen the prequel. I do have the prequel, but I haven't got around to watching it yet.
But the original The Thing, if you spoke, what was it, Russian or whatever, he actually says that this dog isn't really a dog right in the very beginning of that movie. It almost ruins the whole concept of the movie going forward. I actually when I heard about that, and I went in and I actually did some research on it, I'm like, damn, why would they do that? That's kind of ridiculous. Anybody who speaks that.
I remember watching the old black and white version with my nan and granddad. It was on one of the Friday night creature features, and yeah, I love the old version as well, because obviously it's actually this big towering kind of figure, and not this creature that keeps changing shape. But
That's pretty cool.
But my last one, I'm a big zombie fan. I love Dawn of the Dead. I love all the Day of the Deads. So Tom Savini.
Not a character.
He does have.
He is kind of a character.
He does have like cameos. He has a cameo in Dawn of the Dead, but he was the only person I could think of that's in the film, and that would kind of, because he did all the special effects for the films as well. So I thought Tom Savini, because he also did Friday the 13th. He did all the special effects for that as well. So. And he actually was the stunt man in that briefly. He's the guy that comes crashing. Well, it's supposed to be the girl, but he comes crashing through the window instead in a wig.
Well, I mean, he's also in From Dusk Till Dawn.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
He's in that.
So he's the one who got the love machine, right? With the crotch gun and all that stuff, which is quite the creative character, to say the least.
Oh, yes.
I have loved having you guys on tonight. I would definitely want to do a part 2 at some point, maybe closer.
Oh, we love that. This time went by way too fast.
We have so much more to say about all our horror film locations we visit.
Yeah, we didn't even scratch the surface, I feel like.
Well, I definitely wanted to focus mainly on the Humbird tonight and a little bit of what you guys have background, and I wanted to do a part 2 coming up probably later on towards the back half of this year, where we can get more into all the adventures you guys have gone on, and several locations that I know that we both have gone to, that we can definitely have more of an in-depth conversation on that. That would be amazing. Cool.
That'd be fun.
But if anybody has a chance, please make the pilgrimage out to Humbird. They would love to have you guys out there. There's a beautiful property again, the Humbird Hotel Bar and Grill in Humbird, Wisconsin. I think I just said that word a few too many. That's amazing that you guys have this amazing property. You've built it back up from obscurity, and I think that everybody, if they have a chance, if they're going through the area, should definitely go and check it out. And unfortunately, we're going to take this home, and for Matt Hawks and Elizabeth Havenor, this is Jeremy Cotter. We'll see you next time on Twisted Tales. Good night, everybody.